I invested $100,000 in my fiancé's business 2 months before our wedding. Then I caught her in bed with another man. I didn't confront her. I vanished. 3 months later, she found me and tried to explain. That's when I revealed what I'd done with those photos. Her jaw literally dropped. But the real surprise was standing right behind me. My name is Dwight Ramsey. I'm 43 years old, and I own a roofing company here in eastern Tennessee. Started it from nothing 15 years ago with just a beat-up truck. Now I've got 12 guys on the crew and steady work. It's honest labor, hard on the back, but good for the soul. Lorraine Winters was supposed to be my second chance. We met 3 years ago at a business mixer. She owned a small beauty salon on Maple Street, 3 chairs and big dreams. My daughter Bethany was 19 and away at college. Her son Cody had just turned 18. The timing felt perfect. Grown kids, rough divorces behind us, ready to build something real. When Lorraine said she needed capital to expand the salon, I didn't hesitate. $100,000 from my company reserves. My business partner Joel told me to get it in writing, make it official. I brush him off. This was the woman I was going to marry. We didn't need contracts. We had trust. That Tuesday, I was working the Henderson place, replacing storm damage. Around noon, Joel texted about an equipment issue. I climbed down and headed back to the shop. Turned out to be nothing. He'd already handled it. I should have returned to the job site, but something pulled me home instead. I got there around 1:30. Lorraine's silver Lexus sat in the driveway, which surprised me. She usually worked Tuesdays. The house felt quiet, wrong somehow. I opened the door and just stood there listening. Then I heard it. Low voices upstairs. A man's laugh I didn't recognize. My work boots stayed quiet on the carpet as I climbed those stairs. Each step felt heavy, deliberate. The bedroom door stood half open, and through it I saw everything I needed to see. Lorraine, in our bed, with someone else. He was maybe 40, dark hair, expensive watch. His shirt draped over the chair. I'd refinish myself. They didn't notice me standing there. Too caught up to see the man who paid their mortgage. I pulled out my phone, killed the sound, and took 3 photos. Clear shots. Good light. Undeniable evidence. Then I turned and walked back down those stairs without making a sound. I walked out of that house like a man in a trance. My truck sat in the driveway. Keys already in my hand, though I didn't remember grabbing them. I climbed in, started the engine, and backed out onto the street. Didn't slam the door, didn't peel out, didn't do anything that would alert them to what just happened. Just drove away smooth and steady, like it was any other afternoon. 3 blocks down, I pulled into the parking lot behind the old lumber yard and just sat there. Engine running, AC blasting, staring at the crumbling brick wall in front of me. My hands gripped the steering wheel tight enough to hurt. That's when it hit me. Not anger, not yet. Just this hollow feeling spreading through my chest like ice water. I pulled out my phone and looked at the photos. Crystal clear. No denying what they showed. Part of me wanted to delete them, pretend I'd never seen anything. The other part knew I'd need them eventually. For what? I wasn't sure yet. But they were evidence. Proof that I wasn't crazy, wasn't imagining things. I sat there maybe 20 minutes before my phone buzzed. Text from Lorraine. Hey babe, running errands. Be home around 5. Want me to grab dinner? The casual lie of it made something shift inside me. She was already spinning the story, already covering tracks. I didn't respond. Just stare at those words until they stopped making sense. That's when I made the first decision. I powered down my phone completely, popped the back off, and pulled out the SIM card. Held that tiny piece of plastic between my fingers. Everything connected to my old life reduced to something smaller than a dime. I opened the truck door and dropped it into the storm drain. Heard it ping off metal somewhere deep below the street. Then I drove to the Walmart on Highway 11. Paid cash for a cheap prepaid phone, the kind you buy and throw away. $28. The kid at the register barely looked at me. I activated in the parking lot, sitting in my truck with the windows down and the late afternoon heat pressing in. New phone, new number, clean slate. Nobody had it yet. Nobody would. Next stop was Merle Cochran's place. Merle and I went back to high school, played football together, got drunk for the first time on the same bottle of Jack Daniels behind the Piggly Wiggly when we were 16. He owned 30 acres out past the county line, mostly woods, a little pond, and a house that looked like it was held together by prayer and duct tape. But it was his, free and clear, and he'd always told me if I ever needed anything, his door was open. I pulled up the long gravel drive around 4:30. Merle sat on his front porch with a beer in one hand and a fishing magazine in the other. He looked up as I parked, took one look at my face, and said, "You need the couch or the spare room?" That's Merle. Doesn't ask unnecessary questions. Doesn't pry. Just offers what he's got. Couch is fine, I told him. He nodded, took a long pull from his beer. There's more in the fridge. Help yourself. I grabbed my phone, the new one, and followed him inside. The house smelled like coffee and motor oil. It felt safer than anywhere else I could think of. That first night at Merle's, we didn't talk much. He threw a couple steaks on the grill out back while I sat on the porch steps, nursing a beer and watching the sun drop behind the tree line. The air smelled like charcoal and pine. Cicadas sang their evening song. Everything felt normal, except for the hole in my chest where my future used to be. Medium rare work for you. Merle called out from the grill. Yeah, that's fine. We ate at his kitchen table, plates scratched from years of use, the overhead light flickering like it might give up any minute. Merle chewed slowly, occasionally glancing at me, but never asking. After we finished, he cleared the plates and said, "Bathroom's down the hall. Clean towels in the closet. I'm up by 6 usually, but don't worry about it." Appreciate it, Merle. He just nodded and headed to his room. That was the extent of our deep conversation. I lay on that couch for hours, staring at the water-stained ceiling. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw them. Lorraine and that man, tangled up in sheets I'd paid for, in a house I'd helped make into a home. The betrayal kept playing on repeat, and each time it cut deeper. Not just that she'd done it, but that she'd looked me in the eye every morning knowing what she was hiding. Around midnight, my new phone buzzed. Unknown number. I knew it was her. She'd probably been calling the old number for hours, getting nothing, starting to panic. I let it ring until it stopped, then it started again, and again. I powered it off and shoved it under the couch cushion. The next morning, I woke to the smell of coffee. Merle stood at the stove, frying eggs, bacon sizzling in another pan. He poured me a cup without asking, black and strong. "You working today?" he asked. "Should be. Henderson roof won't finish itself. You gonna tell your crew anything?" I thought about that. Joel would cover for me if needed, but the guys deserved to know I was still around. "I'll call Joel. Keep it simple." Merle nodded, flipped an egg. Simple's usually best. After breakfast, I used my burner phone to call Joel from the porch. He answered on the second ring. "It's Dwight," I said. "Jesus, man, where are you?" "Lorraine's been calling everyone. She filed a missing person report." That made me pause. "I'm not missing. I'm exactly where I need to be." "What happened?" "Can't get into it right now. I need you to run things for a while. Pay the guys out of the business account like normal. I'll check in when I can." Joel was quiet for a moment. "This about Lorraine?" "Yeah." "All right. I got it covered. But Dwight, you okay?" "Getting there," I said, and ended the call. I spent the rest of that day helping Merle fix a section of fence that had rotted out. Physical work, something to keep my hands busy and my mind occupied. We didn't talk about Lorraine or what happened. Just measured posts, dug holes, poured concrete. By sunset, we had 10 feet of new fence standing straight and solid. That night, my daughter Bethany called. The burner phone lit up with her number, one of the few I transferred over. "Dad, Mom called me. She said you disappeared. What's going on?" I stepped outside so Merle wouldn't hear. "Beth, I'm fine. Something happened with Lorraine and me. I needed space." "What kind of something?" I couldn't tell her the whole truth. "Not yet. Adult stuff. Nothing for you to worry about. Focus on your classes." "Dad, I'm 19, not 9. Talk to me." Her voice had that edge to it, the same one her mother used to have when she knew I was holding back. "I caught Lorraine with someone else. I left. That's all I'm saying right now." Silence on the other end. Then, "Dad, I'm so sorry. Not your fault, sweetheart. I just need some time to figure things out." "Where are you staying?" "With Merle." "I'm safe." "Okay. Call me if you need anything." "I mean it." "I will. Love you, Beth." "Love you too, Dad." I hung up and stood there in the dark, listening to the night sounds, feeling something close to peace for the first time since yesterday. 3 days passed before I heard from Lorraine directly. 3 days of working odd jobs around Merle's property, sleeping on his couch, and avoiding the world. Then, on Saturday morning, my burner phone rang. A number I didn't recognize, but I knew who it was. I let it ring out. 2 minutes later, a voicemail appeared. I waited until after lunch to listen to it. sitting on Merle's back porch with a glass of sweet tea. Her voice came through shaky, rehearsed. Dwight, it's me. I don't know what's happening or why you left. Please call me back. We need to talk. Whatever you think happened, you're wrong. Just please call me. I deleted it without finishing. That afternoon, Joel called. We got a problem. Lorraine came by the shop looking for you. Made a scene in front of the guys. What kind of scene? Crying, saying you abandoned her, that she doesn't understand what she did wrong. A couple of the guys felt bad for her. I didn't say anything, but it was uncomfortable as hell. I felt heat rising in my chest. She was playing victim already, spinning the narrative before I could say anything. Classic move. What did you tell her? That I don't know where you are, that it's between you two. She didn't like that answer. Good. Keep it that way. Dwight, people are talking. The wedding's supposed to be in what, 6 weeks? Word's getting around. Let them talk. Cancel the wedding if anyone asks. I'm not going through with it. Joel exhaled long and slow. You sure about this? Never been more sure of anything. After I hung up, I sat there thinking about the deposits we'd already put down. The venue by the lake, $1,500. The caterer, another $2,000. Flowers, photographer, all of it non-refundable. Thousands of dollars gone. But that money was nothing compared to what I'd already lost. $100,000 in her business, and the future I thought we'd have. That evening, Merle came home from town with news. Ran into Dwayne at the hardware store. He mentioned Lorraine's been telling people you had a breakdown. That the stress of the wedding got to you, and you just snapped. I looked at him. That's what people believe. Some of them. Others figure there's more to it. Small town, Dwight. Folks like to gossip. Let them. I'm not defending myself to anyone. Merle grabbed 2 beers from his fridge, handed me one. You planning to set the record straight eventually? When the time's right. Right now, I'm just trying to breathe. He clinked his bottle against mine. Fair enough. Sunday morning, Bethany called again. Dad, I talked to Cody. That surprised me. Cody was Lorraine's son, a decent kid who'd always treated me with respect. What did he say? He's confused. His mom won't tell him anything except that you left. He wanted to know if you're coming back. Poor kid. None of this was his fault either. What did you tell him? That I didn't know. Dad, he really looks up to you. He's taking this hard. Guilt twisted in my stomach. Cody had called me more than once asking for advice about college applications and job interviews. I've been more of a father to him in 2 years than his real dad had been in 18. I'll reach out to him when things settle. But I can't go back there, Beth. I know. Just wanted you to know. After we hung up, I sat on Merle's porch and thought about all the collateral damage from Lorraine's choices. The kids caught in the middle. The wedding guests who'd made plans. The vendors who'd lose deposits. My reputation around town. But none of that changed what I saw in that bedroom. None of it erased the photos on my phone. And none of it meant I owed her forgiveness or explanation. I was done being the nice guy who got walked on. This time, I'd disappear on my terms and come back when I was ready. Not a moment sooner. 2 weeks in, and the wedding collapsed on its own. The venue called Joel at the shop asking about final payment. He told them to cancel everything. The florist, the caterer, the photographer, all of them got the same message. The wedding wasn't happening. Deposits were gone, but I didn't care. That money was already dead to me. Word spread fast in a town our size. People started asking questions. Some folks sided with Lorraine, believed her story about me having a breakdown. Others sensed something deeper and kept their distance from both of us. I heard through Joel that her salon had lost a few clients. Guess some people don't like doing business with someone involved in that kind of drama. Meanwhile, I kept my head down at Merle's place. Helped him rebuild his shed, replace some rotted boards on the porch, fixed a leak in his bathroom. Honest work that kept my hands busy and my mind occupied. Merle never asked for help, but he never turned it down either. We had an understanding. One afternoon, my business partner Joel called with news. Lorraine came by again. This time she brought that guy. My blood went cold. What guy? The one from the photos. Floyd something. She introduced him as her business consultant. Said they were working on expanding the salon. The audacity of it burned through me like acid. She was already parading him around, making it official, acting like I was the problem. What did you tell them? Told them this was a roofing company, not a salon, and they needed to leave. Wasn't polite about it. Good. Dwight, people are starting to figure it out. The guys have been talking. They're not stupid. Let them talk. I'm not explaining myself to anyone. That evening, I got a call from Cody, Lorraine's son. He got my new number for Bethany. His voice was quiet, unsure. Dwight, it's Cody. Can we talk? I stepped outside into the cooling evening air. Sure, kid. What's on your mind? Mom won't tell me what happened. She just says you left and that you're dealing with stuff. But Bethany said you caught her with someone. Is that true? The kid deserved honesty. Yeah, Cody. That's true. Silence on the other end. Then Floyd. So he'd already figured it out. Smart kid. Yeah. I'm sorry, Dwight. That's messed up. You didn't deserve that. His words hit harder than expected. Appreciate you saying that. This isn't on you, understand? You're a good kid. Don't let this change that. Are you coming back? No, I can't. But if you ever need anything, you call me. That doesn't change. After we hung up, I sat on Merle's porch steps watching the stars come out. Cody's loyalty meant something. In the middle of all this mess, there were still good people trying to do right. That mattered. The next day, Bethany called with different news. Dad, Grandma and Grandpa know. Lorraine's parents. They call me asking what really happened. What did you tell them? The truth. That you caught her cheating. They didn't sound surprised, Dad. Her mom even said, I was afraid of this. That stopped me. What does that mean? I don't know. But they asked for your number. I didn't give it to them. Want to check with you first. Don't give it out. Not yet. I need more time. Okay. But Dad, I think they're on your side. 3 weeks after I left, reality started catching up with Lorraine. Joel told me the bank called about the business loan she'd taken out using my investment as collateral. Apparently, she'd missed a payment. That $100,000 I'd given her was tied up in equipment and inventory that wasn't generating enough revenue to cover her expenses. She's underwater, Joel said bluntly. And if she defaults, it could come back on you depending on how the paperwork was filed. That got my attention. What do you mean? I mean you need a lawyer. Today, not tomorrow. I called a guy I knew from the Rotary Club, Sam Kirkland. He specialized in business disputes and had a reputation for being tough but fair. We met at his office that afternoon. Tell me everything, Sam said, pulling out a legal pad. I laid it all out. The investment, the verbal agreement, the lack of written contracts. He listened without interrupting, occasionally making notes. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair. You got burned, Dwight. Legally speaking, without a written agreement, proving that money was a loan versus a gift is going to be difficult. But the fact that you can show it came from business accounts helps. What are my options? File a civil suit to recover the investment. Claim financial fraud if we can prove she misrepresented how the money would be used. At minimum, we can make her life complicated. But it won't be quick or cheap. Do it. I want every dollar accounted for. Sam nodded. I'll draft the initial paperwork. One more thing, document everything. Every interaction, every call, every text. If this goes to court, we'll need it all. I left his office feeling like I'd finally taken a step forward instead of just surviving. This wasn't about revenge. This was about protecting what I'd built and making sure she didn't walk away clean. That night, Lorraine's parents called. Somehow they got my number. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. Dwight, it's Barbara, Lorraine's mother. Please don't hang up. I didn't say anything. Just waited. We know what happened. Cody told us. We're so sorry. This isn't who we raised her to be. Her voice was genuine, pained. Mrs. Winters, I appreciate that, but it doesn't change anything. We understand. We just wanted you to know that we don't condone what she did. We told her she needs to make this right, but she won't listen. There's no making this right. The money you invested, we didn't know about that until recently. If she doesn't pay you back, we will. It might take time, but we'll do it. That floored me. You don't have to do that. We do. You were good to our daughter and our grandson. You deserve better. Please let us help fix this. After we hung up, I told Merle what they'd said. He whistled low. That's rare. Parents usually side with their kids no matter what. They're good people stuck with a bad situation. So what are you going to do? Let my lawyer handle Lorraine. If her parents want to help later, we'll deal with that then. Right now, I just need to stay the course. Merle raised his beer. To staying the course. I clinked my bottle against his and took a long drink. The path ahead was getting clearer, even if it was still hard. 3 months. That's how long I stayed gone before she tracked me down. 3 months of silence, of rebuilding myself piece by piece at Merle's place. I'd started taking on small roofing jobs again. Nothing major, just enough to keep my skills sharp and my mind occupied. Life had found a rhythm. Wake up, work, eat, sleep, repeat. Simple, clean, peaceful. Then one Thursday morning, I heard tires on Merle's gravel driveway. Looked out the window and saw her silver Lexus pulling up. My stomach dropped. Merle was at work. I was alone, coffee in hand, wearing jeans and an old t-shirt. For a second, I considered not answering. But running solved nothing. I dealt with harder things than this conversation. I opened the door before she could knock. She stood there looking smaller than I remembered. Hair pulled back, minimal makeup, dark circles under her eyes. Her hands clutched her purse like it was the only thing keeping her upright. "Dwight," she said, voice barely above a whisper. "Lorraine, can we talk? Please." I stepped back and left the door open. Didn't invite her in, just gave her space to decide. She crossed the threshold slowly, like she was entering a courtroom instead of a friend's living room. I gestured to the kitchen table. She sat. I poured her coffee without asking. Black, the way she used to drink it. Old habits. I sat across from her and waited. "I've been looking everywhere," she started. "Your parents wouldn't tell me. Joel wouldn't tell me. Even Bethany." "Good." I told them not to. That stopped her. She looked down at the coffee cup, untouched. "I need to know why you left. Why you just disappeared without a word." I leaned back in my chair. "You know why." "No, I don't. One day we were fine, planning our wedding, and the next you were gone. I don't understand what happened." The lie came so easy to her. Maybe she'd said it enough times that she believed it. I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone. Opened the photos. Slid the phone across the table. She looked at the screen. Her face drained of all color. The kind of pale you can't fake. The kind that comes from knowing there's no way out. "I didn't know you saw," she whispered. "I saw enough." She stared at that photo like it might change if she looked long enough. Like the truth might rearrange itself into something she could explain away. But pictures don't lie. They just sit there, permanent and undeniable. "This isn't what it looks like," she said finally. "I've been waiting for that line. They all use it. It's exactly what it looks like. You and Floyd. In our bed. 2 months before our wedding. He was helping me with the business. We got close. It was a mistake. A mistake is forgetting to pay a bill. This was a choice. Multiple choices." She tried to say something else, but I held out my hand. The question I've been saving for 3 months sat on my tongue, ready. "We were 2 months away from the wedding, Lorraine. Tell me, was it worth it?" She didn't answer my question. Just sat there with tears starting to roll down her face. Mouth opening and closing like she couldn't find words that would fix this. There weren't any. We both knew it. "I made a mistake," she said again, like repetition would make it true. "You made a decision. Own it. Please, Dwight. We can work through this. Go to counseling. Start over. I'll end things with Floyd. I'll do whatever it takes." I let her words hang in the air between us. 3 months ago, maybe they would have meant something. Before I'd spent 90 days processing what she'd done. Before I talked to lawyers and learned how deep her betrayal went. "There's something else you should know," I said calmly. "I sent those photos to your parents." Her eyes went wide. "You did what?" "They paid for half that wedding. Put down deposits. Believed in us. They deserved to know why I left. You had no right. I had every right. They called me. Apologized. Said they'd help pay back the money you took from me." She stood up fast, chair scraping against the floor. "That money was an investment in our future. Our future ended the day you brought him into our bed." Her face twisted with anger now, tears forgotten. "You're cruel. You know that." Walking away without explanation, hiding like a coward, turning my own parents against me. "I didn't turn anyone against you. You did that yourself." Before she could respond, I heard footsteps on the porch. The door opened and Diane walked in, a woman I'd met 4 weeks ago at a community barbecue Merle had dragged me to. She was a nurse at the county hospital, divorced 3 years, kind smile and honest eyes. We'd been seeing each other casually, nothing serious yet, just coffee and conversation and slowly learning to trust again. She saw Lorraine and paused, reading the room instantly. But she didn't retreat, just walked over to me, set her hand on my shoulder. "Everything okay here?" Diane asked, her voice steady. I looked up at her and felt something solid in my chest. "Yeah, everything's fine." Lorraine stared at us, comprehension dawning. "Are you serious? You're with someone else already?" "Already. It's been 3 months. And yes." I stood up, put my arm around Diane's waist. Not to hurt Lorraine, but because it felt right. Because Diane represented something Lorraine never had. Honesty, respect, someone who showed up when they said they would. Lorraine's jaw literally dropped. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. She looked between us like she was seeing something impossible. I walked to the door and opened it. You should go, Lorraine. There's nothing left to say. Dwight, please. Get out. And I hope life teaches you what you need to learn. She stood there another moment, purse clutched tight, tears streaming now. Then she turned and walked out. I watched her Lexus pull away down the gravel drive, taillights disappearing into the trees. When I closed the door, Diane turned to me. That was her. Yeah. You did good. Stayed calm. Didn't give her anything. I pulled her close. Thanks for being here. Nowhere else I'd rather be. For the first time in 3 months, I felt truly free. 2 weeks after Lorraine left Merle's place, my lawyer Sam called with news. We met at his office downtown, and he had that look lawyers get when they've won something significant. Her attorney reached out. They want to settle, Sam said, sliding papers across his desk. I read through the proposal. Lorraine would repay $60,000 of the $100,000 I'd invested, to be paid over 3 years. Her parents had co-signed as guarantors. If she defaulted, they'd cover it. Additionally, she'd sign away any claim to my business or personal assets. 60,000 isn't 100, I said. No, but it's realistic. Her business is failing. The salon's being sold to cover debts. Between what the sale brings and what her parents are contributing, 60 is what we can actually collect. We could fight for more, but it'll cost you in legal fees and time. This way, you get most of your money back and you're done. I thought about it. The money mattered, but freedom mattered more. What about Floyd? Sam's expression darkened. Interesting story there. His wife filed for divorce, took the kids, and moved back to her parents' place in Virginia. He lost his contractor's license over some unrelated issues that came to light during the investigation. Word is he's working construction labor now. Karma had been busy. And Lorraine, living with her parents. The salon sold last week. She's looking for work, but her reputation in this town is shot. People talk. I signed a settlement agreement. Let's be done with this. 3 days later, the papers were finalized. Bethany called that evening, excited. Dad, I heard about the settlement. Grandma told me. Are you coming home? Not to that house. But yeah, I'm coming back to town. Found a place near the shop. Moving in next month. What about Diane? I smiled. Bethany had met her twice now. Liked her immediately. She's staying in her place for now. We're taking it slow. Doing it right this time. Good. You deserve someone who treats you right. The following week, I had coffee with Lorraine's parents. Barbara and Tom met me at the diner on Main Street. They looked older than I remembered, worn down by their daughter's choices. We're setting up the payment plan through our bank, Tom said. First payment hits your account next Friday. You'll get a check every month for 3 years. You don't have to do this, I said. The settlement doesn't require. Barbara cut me off. Yes, we do. You were good to our family. What Lorraine did was unforgivable. This is the least we can do. How's Cody handling everything? Better than expected, Tom said. He got accepted to trade school. Wants to be an electrician. Says you inspired him to work with his hands. That hit me harder than I expected. He's a good kid. Because of you. You showed him what a real man looks like. We're grateful for that, even if things ended badly. We finished our coffee, shook hands, and I drove back to Merle's place feeling lighter. The money would come back eventually. My reputation was intact, and I had a future with someone honest. That night, Diane came over. We sat on Merle's porch watching the stars come out, her head on my shoulder. You seem different, she said. Lighter somehow. Settlement's done. It's finally over. How do you feel? I thought about it. Free. Like I can finally move forward without looking over my shoulder. She squeezed my hand. Good. Because I'm ready to move forward with you. Yeah. Yeah. And that was enough. For months later, I stood in my new house. A small ranch on the east side of town. Nothing fancy but mine alone. Bethany helped me unpack boxes while Merle assembled furniture in the living room. Diane was in the kitchen organizing dishes, humming along to the radio. This place is good bones, Bethany said, echoing something Lorraine used to say. But coming from my daughter, it didn't hurt. It just was. It'll do, I replied. Room for you when you visit. Guest room for when Merle needs to crash. Merle called from the living room. I got my own place. Thank you very much. But I'll take the beer you promised for helping today. I grabbed 3 cold ones from the cooler. Couldn't drink one yet. Still had to get the fridge working. Handed them out. We stood in my empty living room, boxes everywhere, and it felt right. The roofing business was thriving. Joel and I had taken on 2 new guys, and we had contracts booked through next spring. The $60,000 from Lorraine's settlement was rebuilding my savings, 1 month at a time. Her parents never missed a payment. I'd heard through the grapevine that Lorraine moved to Knoxville. Fresh start somewhere people didn't know her story. Floyd apparently followed her there, though I didn't know if they were still together. Didn't care either. That chapter was closed and locked. Cody called me once a month. He'd started his electrician apprenticeship and loved it. We talked about his classes, his girlfriend, his plans for the future. I was proud of the man he was becoming, even if his mother and I hadn't worked out. One evening in late October, Diane and I sat on my new back porch. The air had that crisp autumn bite, leaves turning gold and red in the yard. She'd brought over a casserole for dinner, and we'd eaten it while watching the sun go down. "I've been thinking," she said carefully. "My lease is up in January. I could renew it, or—" I looked at her. Or I cannot renew it. See what else might be available." I took her hand. "This place has an extra bathroom. Good closet space. Room for 2. She smiled. "You asking me to move in? When you're ready. No rush. But yeah, I'm asking. Let me think about it." 2 weeks later, she said yes. The wedding that never happened turned into a life I never expected. Better. Honest. Built on truth instead of lies. Bethany loved Diane. Merle approved. Even my business partner Joel admitted I seemed happier than I'd been in years. 1 year after I walked out of that house, I stood at the Henderson place, finishing up a roof we'd started what felt like a lifetime ago. The same roof I'd been working on the day everything changed. Below me, the town spread out in all directions. My town, my business, my life. My phone buzzed. Text from Diane. "Dinner at 7? Making your favorite." I typed back, wouldn't miss it. I climbed down from that roof, packed up my tools, and drove home. Not to Lorraine's house. Not to Merle's couch. Home. To a place I'd built for myself, with a woman who showed up when she said she would. The betrayal that destroyed my old life had forced me to build a better one. Stronger foundation. Honest materials. No rot hidden in the walls. And standing in my driveway, looking at my house with Diane's car parked beside my truck, I realized something important. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you is actually the best thing that could have happened. I was finally exactly where I needed to be.